Welcome back to the channel. I am Shelby, aka 88 Fox. Today we are working on the 88 Fox. So I'm going to show you kind of where we're at. So we've got the motor, the dual overhead cam 4.6 in, and we've got the T56 sitting in there. Don't have the clutch or anything in, just chilling, making sure everything fits. Had quite a interesting endeavor trying to figure out how to get this trans cross member to bolt up, but I think we figured it out. I am gonna have to do like a little fixing up on the actual mounts themselves, and yeah, so that's kind of how it's going to be sitting. The drive shaft, however, that we have for it is too long. I'm going to have to cut out probably about 2.5 inches. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go to a driveline place and get that done. But yeah, so that's kind of how everything's bolting in. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to drop the motor, drop the trans, and then start putting it together. But I also am going to remove the wheels and move the coil overs and see if we can get a little bit of play out of this K-member. I want to see if I can push it up a little bit. Once we do that, bolt the K-member down, and of course make sure everything's straightened up and lined up all nice and pretty. And then we're going to pressure wash this whole thing, get any little spots that we welded on the bottom side here painted. So get everything cleaned up underneath, and then we will put everything back in and start plumbing everything up. I haven't figured out yet how I want to plumb up like the oil feed return or the oil return for the turbo yet. We are going to go with an external oil cooler and oil filter. So all that's going to have to happen in time once we get everything bolted back up. So next step, let's get everything removed, get everything out, and start cleaning everything up. Go. Alright, we've got the engine transmission out, and we did some pressure washing on this thing. Got some areas to clean up. There's got a lot of the grime off, all the crap, but we're gonna have to mess with this trans cross member a little bit more, do some modifications on it. And then there's some areas where we were doing some welding for like the subframe connectors and such that need to be grinded on and painted over. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. Maybe just primer for now. But, and then back here as well, where the subframe connectors went through. Yeah, so I got some work to do on this bottom side here. And obviously I'm going to let it dry first because it's still wet from pressure washing it all. And then once that's done, we will be ready to put the motor, clutch, transmission back together. I'm going to put it all together as one assembly and try to drop it in. And then we will start plumbing it up. Oh yeah, one more thing. So I was able to get a little bit of play out of the K-member, not too much. Unfortunately, I wish I could scoot it up about another entire inch or so, but it is what it is. So we got that bolted back down, and yeah, it's good to go. Cool. Alright, so I spent a little time cleaning up some of these welds, doing some priming. It's straight to contact primer, so, or straight to metal primer, so all's well. Cleaned up these areas, some of these other little welds. Got it all painted. And then kind of straighten this out. Part of me wants to just like cut this all off, re-weld some new brackets on there. But then the other part of me just says, let's send it. So that's what we're gonna do for now. One day I'll pull everything, the whole shebang, and go get it like sandblasted and repainted down here and all that great stuff. But today's not that day. I'm just trying to get this thing up and running for now. So since that is done, now I can go ahead and put the clutch on the back of the motor, bolt it all together, and see if we can put it all in one stab into the actual car. Once that is completed, then I will have to see how much we're actually going to have to take out of this drive shaft. From rough measurements, when we first put the motor and transmission in there, it was about 2.5 inches too short. So we'll have to double check that once we get the final install location done, and then go from there. So once I get that measurement, I'll go ahead and send the drive shaft off to go get it cut, rebalanced, all that good stuff. And in the meantime, I'm going to start plumbing this thing up and try to see if we can get it to fire off. I'm just going to go straight out the headers for now, not hook up the turbo yet, just because I want to see it pop off first. And then we will have to put the oil return line for the turbo and all that good stuff, plumb all the turbo stuff up, and go from there. So yeah, so next step is actually getting the motor in there and getting it started. Cool. Alright, we got the motor in. Now it's time to put the clutch in. We've got this McLeod, whatever, twin disc. So it comes with everything we need, including some stickers. Yay. But it comes with the flywheel, and then there's your clutch discs, your pressure plate, etc. So we'll get that installed, and then we will put the transmission in. All right, so we got the transmission installed, got the cross member in, all's well with that. Still want to do a little bit of maybe reinforcing and cleaning that up, but yeah, all's well. We got the clutch and everything in. Yes, I'm going with the manual clutch cable for now. We'll see later if I want to go hydraulic. Install was pretty simple. The McLeod, whatever, dual twin disc clutch was really simple. But yeah, that's kind of where it's going to sit. So we're going to get the measurements for this drive shaft so we can get this drive shaft cut and rebalanced, and then while that's happening, we will be bolting everything up. So intake, exhaust, all that good stuff. So cool. That's where we're at. as you can or cannot see, let's see. These injectors are really, really close. Like we've got maybe an inch. Let's get in a little bit deeper. You got maybe an inch from between where this injector sits to like the bottom part of the manifold where this throttle body is. But if you look at it straight on, like this lip even is in the way. Even tighter conditions is this injector, and then like that's kind of in a weird spot, but not too bad. So the way that these little adapters work, these are about an inch alone, and then you have your injector harness, which I think I pointed out the actual cop plug pigtail, but this is the injector pigtail. So it fits nicely back here and fits nicely on these 4 injectors, but definitely not those 2. So I guess what I'm going to have to do is try to find an adapter that goes in between, or is like just this part, and then like some wire, and then connect it to the injector, or I'll have to just, you know, which I mean wouldn't be a problem at all if I could just find these little US car pigtails and just build them myself, which I might end up, if I find a good deal on them or something, I might end up going ahead and grabbing some anyways, and then just rewiring these injector pigtails, because I'm a big fan of less stuff, and so that does introduce, you know, by putting that adapter in there, a point of failure. So yeah, I'll ask y'all, you know, what do you think? So we'll go from there. But before I'm able to put this throttle body on, I do have to get that squared away first. So once again, kind of put in a rut of got to stop doing this part of it. Granted, I can continue carrying on, so I will. We will get these cops in, and I got to do a little bit of research, because if I recall correctly, the 2 valve and the 4 valve coil on plug. Oh crap, that's bright. The 2 valve and the 4 valve coil on plugs, they have to be switched. So what I mean by that is the polarity on them is different. That might be like an old wives' tale regarding these, but I guess I'll just have to Google like 2 valve to 4 valve 4.6 swap and just kind of go through that, because once again, this was set up for a 2 valve 4.6 with the idea that eventually it'll go 4 valve, but that was also like 6 years ago when I did the original swap. So, you know, some things have changed. Another couple things that we're going to have to deal with, right, is this is my original throttle cable, and let's go over here to my pile of crap over here. I don't know if that's going to work necessarily. It might not. Actually, you know what? It might just. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. But I do believe that where are things? Here are things. So that should okay. So does that fit? It do. Okay, cool. And then where is the, I guess this is either the idle air, which would go right here, or that's Yep, I think that is idle air. So we're doing live learning right now. So this is your idle air valve for the 2-valve 4.6, which that is. Will that work? Is that the same kind of idle air valve that a 4-valve uses? I would assume so. But yeah, that's the pigtail for that. So, cool. We have all of the necessary pigtails. Ooh, you know what? This adapter this block-off plate that I made like 8 years ago might just work. So, we're gonna try that. Cool. Alright, carrying on. We're having fun. We're gonna get this car started. Trust me. It's gonna happen. So imagine this is the way this idle air control valve goes for this one, and then that block-off plate's gonna work. I just need to. I'm actually gonna try to find a gasket or get some gasket material and just make one. I siliconed it on the last one, so I got just in there loose, but I just gotta clean it up, and then that'll be, and then get some of that gasket material, and that'll be done. I'm waiting for the On3 Performance coolant crossover delete. I've got one of these on my 98, which is not in here. It's in the garage. But they are really nice. I've ran it since like 2018 on that car, and that car is a daily driver for quite a few years. So I know that it's going to be a good product, so we'll do that. What it does is, I don't remember, it comes off into 2 lines that route this way, and then come into one mutual line where you can put your thermostat, and then bam, right there for your radiator. So it leaves like all this room for activities. Whereas like OEM coolant crossover, it goes up and over. Yeah, and then I think it just comes like directly out, and then you have your hose go into this way. I don't know. I might be making that up. It goes one of these ways or something. But alas, it'll keep it out of the way, keep it clean. Yeah, so I got a couple parts to order for that. I did get some goodies here. So here's a tap, and actually I think all of this is for my TDI swap for the most parts, but I got some AN lines and fittings. So these are going to be the fittings that go onto the feed side of the turbo, and then I'll be able to run that directly to my oil filter reload. And then we have the bottom side, or this line, which is 10 AN, that will come right here, which will be the return for the oil. So I'm going to be tapping it right there, right in the middle. This is where we're going to tap the line. We'll we'll punch it, and then essentially it'll fold in, and then we'll tap it, and then run the line pretty much straight up to the bottom side of the turbo, because this T4 manifold, it mounts like right here, so we'll be able to run a pretty much direct line, and that'll make sure that we have good flow. This turbo in particular already has a oil restrictor. There's a very, very small little bitty hole in there in order to be able to get the proper amount of oil in it. You don't want to like over oil these because they'll blow out the seals. Definitely something we don't want to do. This turbo is a 75 96. So it's like a no-name turbo, but I think it's like, I personally think this is like a old gen on 3 performance turbo, because like everything that I look at on the interwebs leans towards that. But like, it's good. The compressor wheel's good. Everything's good on it. So at least for now, this is the turbo that we will be running until we can get to a point that we want to upgrade turbos. At that point, we'll also need to upgrade fuel injectors, because these are FIC 1000s, I believe. Yep, these are FIC 1000s. So they're realistically only good for, with a good tune, 800-ish horsepower. Some people might laugh at that, say they're only good to 6. It's whatever. Whatever it tunes to, I'm sure it's going to be plenty for this really lightweight car. Yeah, you know what? I think that I'm going to actually go ahead and end this video, because I do have to order some parts. So we'll order some parts, we'll get those going, and hopefully we'll have this thing fired up pretty soon. Yeah, I think I will definitely have that up on the TikTok and the Instagram and all that good stuff when we fire it off. May even go live. Who knows? These will be fun things. Actually, this video will probably post. We'll probably get this video going after all that happens. But yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, that's going to go ahead and be it for the rest of this episode. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Call me an idiot if you see things that I'm doing stupidly, or tell me that I'm awesome. It doesn't really matter, because I don't really care if you like the way I do mechanics or not. It's my car, it's not yours. But yeah, I would like some advice if you see something that I could change up. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and end it there. But yeah, everybody have a good one, and we'll catch you on the next episode. And then maybe we'll get this TDI courier build done sometime soon. But we got a lot of welding to do still left on that. Got the base for the motor mounts, but we gotta make those fit these. That's gonna be interesting. Alright, I'm just continuing to drag this episode on, or this video on. So y'all have a good one. Peace.